Power, ambition, glory. The stunning parallels between great leaders of the ancient world and today, and the lessons you can learn. By Steve Forbes and John Prevas. Narrated by Alan Sklar. Copyright 2009 by Steve Forbes and John Prevas. This unabridged audiobook is published by arrangement with Crown Business, an imprint of the Crown Publishing Group, a division of Random House, Incorporated, and was produced in the year 2009 by Tantor Media, Incorporated, which holds the copyright thereto. Forward by Rudy Giuliani. This is a complicated age for Americans. At times it feels like we are alone in history, suffering through a unique set of trials that leaders have never faced before. A book like Power, Ambition, Glory serves as a testament to the cycles of history and reminds us that nations and leaders have survived grave challenges. It's also a reminder that nations and leaders have overreached and failed. If the fragile balance of power, ambition, and glory is disrupted, then empires are lost. The challenges we face today are certainly historic. The global economy is crumbling, and all of us are wondering how our new leaders will actually lead. Will they follow the example of a leader like Alexander the Great, whose grand vision was colored by an insatiable need for flattery? Will our leaders look to Cyrus, who boldly added to his vast empire, but struggled to make all the far-flung parts function together in harmony? It is the obligation of any leader to try to learn from the successes and failures of the past. In taking us on a fascinating tour of the principles, habits, styles, and results of leaders of the past, Steve Forbes and John Prevas draw clear lessons that today's readers can put to work in their own lives. Listening to this audiobook, I was reminded of a problem I faced after I became mayor of New York City in 1994. Our tourism industry was on life support. No one wanted to drive into New York because they were accosted at the tunnels, and no one wanted to stay in New York because the hotel taxes were exorbitant. People who were inclined to spend money in New York City, money that would provide good jobs and support New York families, were afraid of being confronted by a squeegee man wielding a filthy wiper and demanding a handout. And if they chose to stay overnight, they faced a hotel tax of 21.25%, a burden that was about triple the average of the country's busiest cities. The result was predictable. Businesses staged 50% fewer conventions in New York in 1993 than they had 5 years earlier. The Professional Convention Management Association, in effect, boycotted the city. New Yorkers had been told that both these problems were intractable. The squeegee men supposedly had a right to wander into traffic and intimidate visitors. The hotel tax was high because the city and state desperately needed the revenue. My administration was determined to tackle both of these problems, not only to solve these two problems, but more important, to show New Yorkers that progress and reform were possible, that actual results could be achieved. As one of my first actions as mayor, I sent a letter to the governor asking for a repeal of the state's 5% hotel tax, and I cut the New York City tax from 6% to 5%. This was a small step, but important symbolically. No one could remember any tax ever being reduced in New York City. Since the leader of any large enterprise cannot speak directly to each constituent, symbols are significant. I wanted to send a powerful message that I believed that lower taxes would stimulate more than enough business to offset any immediate loss in revenue. That's exactly what happened with the hotel tax. Within months, net revenue from the hotel tax was actually higher at 5% than it had been at 6%, since far more visitors were coming to the city.